Check Out California radio show, your key to California hospitality. Hosted by Rad Gantos, principal of Rad Gantos & Associates, a hospitality and commercial real estate design firm, and Craig Sullivan, founder and president of the California Lodging Investment Conference. Check Out California is focused on our state's hospitality, travel, and tourism markets, and on the large part they play in California's vibrant and economic diversity and unique quality of life. Now, here are your hosts, Rad Gantos and Craig Sullivan.
Good afternoon and welcome to Check Out California. I'm Craig Sullivan.
And I'm Rod Gantos.
And welcome Mr. Bill Bracken, our returning champion, to the show. This is our second show in season 3, and Bill, welcome back.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Always good to have Bill here.
It's always good to have Bill here. Again, this is our third season, so my co-host, Rad, has been abroad for the past couple of weeks. Welcome back, buddy.
I just flew in, and my arms are tired. I just had to do that. I've been wanting to do that for years.
I set you up.
I can't even get a friggin' drum roll from Paul.
Took me a minute to figure out that. Flew in, arms are tired.
Well, I just figured things would have changed since I've been gone, but no. We're on delayed time roll. Okay, you want to try that again, Paul?
That's okay. You got jet lag, so the
okay.
delay will work.
Oh boy, yeah, I just flew in, and boy, my arms are tired. Better. Maybe by season 4.
Bill, since the last time you were here, you've had a lot of changes. You want to tell us what's going on over at Bracken's Kitchen?
Yeah, you said changes. That's kind of a wide open one
Change.
You gotta.
I have more hair or less hair. Yeah,
he's been busy.
I don't remember last time I was on, but definitely a lot's going on. We went from a little, corner of our shared kitchen with a couple tables of our own to a 9,000 square foot facility that is, you talk about jet lag. I think I've had it since about middle of September last year.
There you go.
Because it's been an amazing journey, a huge blessing for us. We went from, my wife just reminded me that when I started this, I was doing about 150 meals a week, going out once a week with the food truck, and now we're doing about 1,200 meals a day.
Wow.
So some big changes certainly in the last 5-6 months now.
Yeah. And I've been over to your facility once. I think it was shortly after you moved in, so you were still getting settled down. So I'll have to come back by and see it. But it's certainly nice, and you've got room for all of your team. And tell us what's going on. What's the metamorphosis like over at the new shop?
It's really been interesting, and a lot of wonderful blessings, and of course lots of challenges when you move into a commercial facility that has been something else for a long time, and we're still working through some of it was an egg roll factory for years. And
there you go.
At
least it wasn't a gas station.
Yeah, that's true. I say we're still exercising the demons of egg roll past, because every time we turn around, something unusual thing happens, and but 5 months into it now, we're finally getting all the kinks out, refrigeration, air conditioning. We didn't have heaters in or furnaces in the kitchen, and this was the coldest, wettest winter we had in a long time. The kitchen was fine. You got ovens, but you walk into the offices at 7 a.m. on a random morning, and it's 50 degrees in the office. And
putting that park on. Yeah.
Well, you posted where you guys basically where actually there were some postings from the deep freezer, weren't there?
Yeah, we got a freezer that my son always talks about going in and ice skating. It's huge, and it's 0 degrees in there. So, but it's really been just a huge blessing. No sooner did we move into this space and things just happened. Food starts showing up. The recovered food that is such a big part of what we're doing.
Right.
Thousands and thousands of pounds of product that are showing up that could have gone to a trash can if people couldn't find a home for them. Ribeye steaks and chicken breast and just amazing things. So that happened. Some tenants came in to rent out some space for us to help us cover our costs, which was huge, and we really were blessed when we moved in. The gentleman who doesn't like his name shared so much because he just wants to help out anonymously, but the guy who bought the building for us bought it exclusively for us to work out of.
Wow.
And when we first moved in, we were paying the same rent for 9,000 square foot as we paid for a table at the shared kitchen.
Wow.
So, and we're now paying full rent, if you will. And he set it up in such a way that he doesn't want to make any profit from us. He bought the building, we'll retain ownership, but we cover his cost of the building.
So
he's not out of
very
anything.
generous.
It's been huge. He knows who he is. I don't know that he listens to this show, but it was a game changer for us. And at the same time, we've talked so much in the past about the homeless crisis and things going on here. And Judge Carter's just done amazing things. And, shelters are popping up everywhere. Guess what? They put people in a shelter. They need to feed them too. So we've been able to come alongside Illumination Foundation, who's a great organization. American Family Housing and the likes, to provide meals to these people that are being housed through this. Talk about a metamorphosis. What's happened with homelessness in Orange County and how they're taking care of them.
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not in the homeless sector. I'm on the peripheral watching with the work we do. But I mean, Orange County has really set an example for everyone to follow. I mean,
we are. I think we're leading in this county. There was a period of time there recently where it seemed like we weren't doing anything.
Yeah, it was an abdication of leadership almost, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I'm glad they stepped up.
People like you and some new leadership in various cities and at the county level as well, I think we're actually doing something at this point.
Well, and again, I'm not in that arena. Paul Leone of the Illumination Foundation, he's just done amazing work. And, the mayor in Anaheim, when he took over, made the proclamation, and 2 weeks before Christmas, we're going to open a temporary shelter. And on the flip side, now that I'm, helping on that side, providing meals for these people, I see the ugliness that's on the other side with people that no matter what you do, it's never enough. And what's the word for them? I don't know, people out there that advocates for the homeless. And, it's a lawsuit that started all the action, which is a great thing, but sometimes the advocates go too far. And I saw some videos and things about being critical of the shelters that I've been in and walked through. And these are amazing things that they put together, but it's not good enough for some people. So there's that old saying out there, I don't live by it and follow it, but every now and then you think about no good deed goes unpunished. And, I mean, I've been through some of these shelters, and it's just amazing. I mean, they're better better put together than a lot of homes that people have to live in. I mean, the county has really done amazing work in trying to put together some good programs to house people. They're not perfect, but there's always going to be someone out who wants to point out every single flaw. I mean, that's the world we live in today, and that's unfortunate. Not to make it negative.
Yeah.
No. I think it's important to be said, because also, where we were at, any improvement is something to be celebrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, some people will say that maybe there needs to be some support services and things like that are occurring in there. They're maybe not coming yet. But, I mean, again, sheltering these people is critical. Yeah. Feeding them is critical. Yeah. And a lot has been done in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, we all have things that we could do better in our personal lives, our professional lives, our jobs, our careers, and every homeless shelter out there has things they can do better. But unfortunately, I think that a lot of the people that are out there, the advocates trying to make it better, pick up a shovel or grab a broom or help us clean it up or try to do something about it instead of just being the one to complain. So anyhow, enough about the negative.
Well, but let me ask you this though, Bill, because excuse me, how long has it been since you started this?
We just celebrated our 6-year anniversary.
Okay, so you have the benefit of looking back on 6 years, right? What do you think has changed in your take on things or your approach to things since when you first started and today?
Awareness, I think, is number one. I mean, even for myself personally, and I think I've talked about that before, people are so busy going about their lives, you don't see what's going on to the left or the right of you. And in our arena, in hunger relief, I mean, food recovery and food waste has become such a hot topic. I mean, throwing away 40% of our food supply in America, estimated by the USDA. And,
it's insane.
And this is food that could be feeding people. I literally got what we were making in the kitchen today with this chicken that got in beautiful boneless, skinless chicken thighs that would have went in a trash can.
Yeah, wow.
Because the supplier couldn't use them, over-ordered, overstock. I need to get rid of it. So, and that's just awareness. When a USDA comes out with a report and suddenly everybody's talking about it. And the same thing that happened here with the homeless population. Mm-hmm. Judge Carter got involved and suddenly people are aware of it. And, let's not just clean out the riverbank. Let's find a place for them at the same time.
Take care of the problem.
Awareness is important, you know. It's easy to, people will purposefully not look at a situation. Yeah. Sometimes that's easier, but oftentimes, again, we live in a busier time in life and society than we ever have, so it's easy to go about life and not realize what's going on around us.
How's it been for you from a capacity building in terms of volunteers, in terms of people being aware of you and what you're doing over the last 6 years? I mean, have you seen a growth in that?
We've just been blessed. I think we've got some great press, and food is, I talk about it all the time, it's one of the two most basic human needs for survival. So we live in this food-obsessed society, and so food gets a lot of attention. So we're blessed in that sense that it's easy. What's Bill doing over there, Bracken's Kitchen? Food. But as we grow, you need more and more. There's we're doing 1,200 meals a day. Typical of nonprofits. You go
365 too. Yeah.
You go through peaks and valleys, and the holidays, everybody comes out, want to help and support, and in the beginning of the year, it dies down
a little bit.
Yeah, because most of our work, production work, is done during the days.
Right.
When most people are working, we get a lot of older retired people or people that work nights and weekends. But getting people in the kitchen to help us. But we've also grown, and we got. I don't know how many people I had on staff last time I talked to you, maybe 3. We got 10 people on staff now.
Yeah. Steve joined you too, didn't he?
He's a board member. He hasn't joined us on staff or anything. Okay. But he's Santa Ana College now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing a program for them there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they folded, I guess, all the art institutes up now at this point.
Not all of them, but most of them folded. Yeah. They got bought out and folded. Yeah.
Well, they went through a first round in
they
Hollywood.
Just had a second one. Yeah.
People showed up to school in Hollywood, and they're just.
It's a shame.
Yep.
Closed.
Very, very unfortunate because again, those are skill sets that are. I think critical. Yeah. And some of these industries are really understaffed.
Yeah.
When you start asking people for quality people. So. You used to deliver the food using Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now that was when you were doing how many meals a week?
Well, in the beginning we went out once a week. We'd probably do 150 to 180 people.
So how do you distribute 1,200 meals a day?
Well, Betsy doesn't do it all.
Yeah, Betsy's got some help now.
Well, that's why. Yeah.
We literally, we don't distribute it all. People pick up. I mean, we have people coming to the kitchen every day of the week picking up meals. We go out with Betsy still. We have Baby Blue, the van.
Yep.
That delivers yesterday. Bill Morehouse and Rick took off with Baby Blue to L.A. and they delivered 35 times 3, 110 times 7 days of the week. I'm just doing the math in my head. 800 meals to a recuperative care center in L.A. Then we went over to Food Bank, and part of our growth has been our partnerships and agencies. OC Food Bank launched their trolley called Clementine.
Right.
It goes to low-income housings, mostly families. So we prepare half pans of complete meals for them. High-end TV dinners, you can call it that, because we package them and freeze them, and they take them out in the trolley. So, Baby Blue made the rounds, 3 different places delivering meals. But today is Wednesday. New Song Church will be picking up. Coral's Motel will be picking up. Higher Ground picks up tomorrow. So I'm just trying to go through memory of who's on the counter this week. But we just, we distribute or serve with Betsy probably a third of the meals going out. The rest of them agencies that have reached out to us. We just had a meeting today. When you want to talk about something that's real, we just had a meeting with name's Allison from Orange Coast College. It's called Pirates Cove. It's a pantry over there. I mean, the amount of college kids that are struggling,
right?
There's
a lot.
Relief. Yeah. So we're trying to figure out how we can get prepackaged individual meals in there, so they can a student can come in and grab a meal, throw it in the microwave, heat it up, and have something to eat. So
I know when I was in college, it was Swanson turkey pot pies, a lot of peanut butter, and top ramen. Yeah, that was it.
Well, I talk about this often, and. I went to Culinary Institute of America, the premier culinary school still is. It's an amazing school, and I don't know what's happened there today, and I'm not suggesting they have problems, but when I first went there, Mom and Dad drove me there, dropped me off. I didn't have a credit card. I didn't have money. I didn't have anything, and I went to school in the day, and at night I was on my own living in a dorm, and there was nothing to eat. I didn't have a means to, I quickly got a work-study job that paid me $3 an hour, but you got to get into town to buy anything. And I was hungry every night. You're in the premier culinary school, and you're you're hungry. And I
something wrong with that.
I worked
something wrong with that. Yeah.
They had what was called then the B dorm kitchen. So any leftover foods from all the classes they could round up, they'd bring down to B dorm kitchen, and there was always a line out the door. So I quickly got smart and volunteered in B dorm kitchen. So when the food came in, but still, I mean, you're in a culinary school and you're still hungry. So it's out there. It's everywhere. So it's just a reality of the world we live in today.
Now, are you getting a lot of help from our hospitality families? You mentioned one hotel company.
Who did I mention?
They were picking up. It was a motel here in
Coral's Motel.
Motel.
Not quite our hospitality partner.
Well, yeah, it is.
But yes and no. I mean, obviously, the hospitality business is 24 hours, 24/7, and our biggest challenge is when we need help and people's availability and stuff. But more and more people in hospitality are really getting into and focusing on food waste and food recovery, and that's important. And instead of throwing that food in the trash can, how do we get it to people in need? So lots of them are doing things like that.
What are some of the challenges that you still have? I mean, it's a nonprofit, so there's always challenges with a nonprofit. What are some of the challenges that you're facing right now, Bill, with this? I mean, obviously you have grown exponentially from what you just described. I mean, it's amazing actually how many people you're touching either directly or through agencies that are out there providing service. What are some of the things that are either, not necessarily in a negative way, but things that are challenging, either growth challenges or just things that you see that are coming just by nature of what you're doing and the scope of the project, the work that you're doing?
Yeah, I think it's important for me always to remind people that our challenges aren't any different than anybody who runs a business. We are a nonprofit, but we are still a business.
Absolutely.
We have the same requirements, even more requirements. IRS looks
more,
at us a lot differently.
Very
so
true.
People forget that. I think the single biggest challenge, and I can't help but chuckle because we're really in a great place. We've been blessed with great financial, commitments toward the end of the year and grants that we wrote and everything. So we've really been setting up for success. But, we jumped into a rocket ship and took off. We never even got a chance to put our seatbelt on.
Oh, you're building it as you go?
And it just, this kitchen has been a game changer for us. And so it's really been huge. But the single biggest challenge, I think, with a lot of nonprofits is staffing.
Yeah.
People don't want to work in the nonprofit sector, and especially in our profession as chefs. I mean, you go to culinary school. You don't go to culinary school to go work in a nonprofit feeding homeless people.
No, but you could get interns, couldn't you, from some of the
we're actually working
Fullerton and Cal Poly and
so but across the board, not just in the kitchen, but you're building. They call that program development or. What's the other one? Just development. That's fundraising. I call it marketing in my world. But again, the same thing. I mean, there's still a stigma out there that people in the nonprofit world shouldn't be paid as much as someone in the same position in the for-profit business. But
very true. Unfortunate. But very true.
Yeah. So and I'm not saying this. Poor me, but I'm still a long ways away from where I was financially when I worked in the for-profit world, and I'm working harder and juggling more than I ever did when I ran a food and beverage division. But we're also growing, so as we grow, hopefully the board will see fit to take care of that. But it's the mode that's out there. People think if you're working I thought that. I didn't even, for years I didn't even think I'd even take a salary from running Bracken's Kitchen. It's something you do to give back. But, so it's, to attract someone of talent, to come work for you, got to be able to pay them too.
Right.
It is a job. It really is. I mean, when you look at some of these executive directors that are involved in these nonprofits and some of the program directors that are involved in these nonprofits, I mean, there's a direct correlation between the caliber of the people that are involved and the sustainability of these organizations. Because many organizations that don't take it that seriously, and I was on the board of a few of them, that even though they may have a legacy of 20 years of existence, still fail. Yeah. And so you're right. I mean, it is still a business, and that's something sometimes it's really forgotten.
Well, we got a director of operations. Her name is Katerina Cat, and she has just been a huge blessing. And, as we grow, we'll be able to compensate her more as an example. But there's no doubt about it. If she was in another business, she could make more money. She's here because she has a heart for it.
Yeah,
she
it's more different kind of fulfillment for her.
Yeah, so and she's been a huge blessing to us. But those are the people you want to hire in a nonprofit anyhow. You don't want to hire somebody who just needs a job. You have to have a heart for the work we're doing because it's a different kind of challenge. I mean, it's working in 5-star, 5-diamond hotels. You got Sylvester Stallone screaming at you about his oatmeal is a completely different challenge than what we're facing today every day, trying to get the food and the meals out. So it's unique for sure.
Yeah. Now, are you doing another charity cook-off?
We are. We changed the date. We was going to do it in May, and we realized May's 2.5 months away. There's no way we was going to pull that off. We'll do it in our own kitchen, the Hungry Games 2.0. We actually just, ironically that you asked it, and yes, audience, this wasn't a setup at all, but we just landed on today, September 19th.
Okay.
So hopefully 2020 will land on our two events, our own fundraising events. We don't believe in the big galas. In fact,
right.
Jennifer Friend-Smith, who runs Project Hope Alliance, does what's called the anti-gala, which I love it. So putting on big fancy fundraisers to raise money, it's great. It's just not our thing.
No.
So we'll do the Hungry Games in the fall, and then we'll do it again in the spring, and we'll do twice a year small events in our kitchen, the Hungry Games, and deck the halls, because we want people to come into our kitchen. They want to see what we're doing. We want to get them to touch and feel and taste at the same time what we're doing to really understand it. So Hungry Games coming up.
Have your people send me over some information. We'll get it on the Click blog.
Thank you.
And we'll promote it here on the show as well.
We'll
definitely.
First year was really good,
yeah.
and that was at the Art Institute last year.
Yeah.
But it was really phenomenal.
Chef Jason's going to come back and defend his title. That I know for sure. So Hungry Games champion. So
but you do raise another point that's I think sometimes forgotten by a lot of nonprofits, is that there has to be. I've always been an advocate that any activity that you do as a nonprofit, in the case of fundraising or otherwise, should have a direct correlation with the mission of the organization.
Yep.
Yep.
And a lot of people basically go down to the sort of the fallbacks, the golf tournament, the gala, the what have you, right? And it really it dilutes the connection, I think, because then you're just in event season, But I actually love the fact that you're doing it at the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, it's to me it's all got to connect, because at the end of the day, I talk about food all the time, and it's a powerful tool. And I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, Bracken's Kitchen exists for one purpose and one purpose only. That's to help people. Cool. Right. Going out to a golf course maybe raises some money to help people, but it's not a direct connection to what we're doing. So we actually was vying for a golf tournament coming up in Huntington Beach. HB Police Officers Association does an annual event, and they pick a charity. Right. And we were pretty close to being the charity of choice, and we would have gladly done that because it's not our tournament, and it's not going to take all of our time and resources. But for us to bring 20, 30 volunteers together and all these resources to put on a golf tournament, I'd rather.
You're gonna put all that money out front. You're gonna activate your own resource in terms of manpower, volunteers, which actually if you really start penciling down that time as being also with the dollar value to it, and then you basically look at the return on this thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. I mean, I've been involved enough of them that it really is smart to just take a step back and evaluate whether the effort put forward is going to basically yield any kind of results that you want. Yeah.
Well, don't give us too much credit for being smart. We just try to do it. What makes
sense.
This is what we know how to do, and that's what we're going to do.
Every time he's been on the show, this man is very modest, and I will give you credit because, yes, by the grace of God and being blessed and having a lot of doors open and so forth, but it does take a passion. To basically guide an effort like this, and for the growth path that you have been on, Bill, honestly, I mean, it is really impressive. It is even more impressive because of the benefit, societal benefit, and giving where there's a need, really, and you do that on a daily basis. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be credited.
We get to do what we love to do, and we get to do it for people who really need it and appreciate it. And it's interesting. I'm talking with a former colleague of mine about possibly joining the organization, and he was my employee for a long time, on and off. And I know we had a conversation yesterday, and I know I'm like, dude, I know what you're thinking. Do I want to work for this guy again? But it's just different. I mean, the stress level, there's still stress and challenges like running any job, but it's completely different when you're not working for the almighty dollar. Right. We still need money, make no doubt about it, to make this organization run. But when you're working for a profit, it's a completely different thing when you're working for a cause.
Your reward is multi-layered here.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a huge difference between what you're doing today and dealing with pampered stars or corporate executives at a 5-star.
Those are his funders.
So
Yeah.
well, some of them are mine too.
Careful. Careful, they're writing the checks.
Yeah.
But so how can people volunteer? I mean, you talked about. I'm asking this question kind of almost for my own clarity, but how you talk about people that are chefs or what have you that would come and basically provide that capacity building. How can people volunteer with you other than donating? Both either food or financially. Do you have in your programs now where people can come in and actually just help?
We got tons of opportunities, and we continue to grow. I mean, first and foremost, the basic with anybody is we send them to our website. There's a volunteer tab. Click on it, and we put together a little questionnaire of what's your interest, what do you want to do, to really understand and connect with people.
Well, that's smart.
And we had a conversation today and with the lady from Orange Coast College, and they wanted to know what we would expect out of a working relationship, coming together to help feed kids. And I said, we just want to have a relationship. We want to work with people that really understand our mission and what we're all about, and that's so important.
Right.
You can get volunteers anywhere. A corporate group can come out and fulfill their mandatory hours for their bosses or something, but to me, relationship is so important. So we try to get to know people, and through this questionnaire, what's your interest, what do you likes, dislikes. Maybe we got a lady right now from my church who I've known on and off, but she retired because she could, not because she was 65 or nothing, but she wanted to do something and give back. And she comes once or twice a week, helps us in the back office, computers, doing our counting and various things. And talk about building a relationship. She came in yesterday and told the story about her little 7-year-old son came to her. I think he's 7. I forgot that wrong, Judy. I'm sorry if you listen to this. But he came in with all of his money. His allowance and savings, and just all in a bag, and he wanted to give it to his mom to give to Bracken's Kitchen.
Oh, wow.
That's sweet.
And I mean,
that's a beautiful
I got
story.
a pretty cool little kid, but I don't know that he'd want to give all of his money to Bracken's Kitchen. And clearly, the only way he knows about Bracken's Kitchen is from his mom talking about the work she does there. So clearly, we've had enough of an impact in building a relationship with Julie that she goes on talking about it.
It's instilled that in him. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty neat. So, I mean, going back to your question, volunteering, there's all sorts of need, whether it's out on the truck feeding people, whether it's in the back office like Julie, whether it's in the kitchen. We're putting together and have put together all sorts of neat team building opportunities. We had a group come out 2 weeks ago on a Friday, and they made a financial commitment and brought 22 volunteers out on Friday, and we made 1,000 meals.
Wow.
And it's another organization that also does a lot of good, so they know exactly where they want those meals to go to. And we package them all up in family-style meals, a package of 8. So
there you go.
A family of 4 can have tonight's dinner and leftovers the next day. So, and they just had a blast. And this is an organization that's been around for years, supporting everybody, but they never got to get into a kitchen and get their hands dirty and actually be a part of
it.
That's pretty
process,
cool. So all sorts of fun.
Well, that's good
like
for them internally too, as a team building, like you said.
Well, we could write a check, and there's people that write a check. People give time, talent, or treasure, and you can write a check all day long, which is great, and we need that. But there's something special about when you get in and get to see where that check is being used and really touch it. And the next step for this organization is then to get those meals out. And great, you came in, you supported us, you adopted the kitchen for a day, you made the meals, but now they get to go out and take those meals and actually hand them out to people in need.
See where they're going.
They get to see the full circle, and that's really cool. And we can do that because of the type of organization we are. So that's fun.
I need to come out with you one night and experience that. I mean, we met through Robert Rycroft. When Robert and I were working together over at Broughton Hotels, and he was telling me about it. And so, okay, and little did I know that the impact that conversation was going to have. And, Rad knows this, part of one of the founding principles or pillars for Click is to give back to the community. So, unfortunately, you couldn't make it this year, but Bracken's Kitchen is one of our charities that we give to, and there's a check for $1,000 from the California Lodging Investment Conference, and we will have another one for you later this year, but we'll have another one also next year on March 5th for Click 4. So
that's we're truly honored, and I can continue to be amazed how I left this hospitality even though I'm in the hospitality world behind, in the hotel world behind it, I'm still engaged. It
still comes in. Once it gets in your DNA, that's it. You're not getting out.
Remember last time when you were here, we talked about the basics of the word hospitality, and we went back to the hospitalers and taking care of pilgrims and taking care of people with needs. I mean, yeah, and I think you are not out. I mean, I hate to break it to you.
I'm not out of it. I tried real hard to convince myself.
Sorry, you're not out of hospitality.
Well, we talk about that a lot, though, and I mean, and I'm not saying this to be critical. I'm just a realist. At least I think I am. And I mean, I worked in some of the fanciest hotels in the West Coast of California, and I've traveled to them all over the world, and we get all caught up in our 9-course meals as chefs and our $1,000 and 500 thread count. I don't know what's the thread count nowadays. Is 800 thread count? I don't know what's.
I think it's 1,000 now. So.
You know what? It was. I remember when 300 thread count was a nice sheet.
Yeah.
But we get caught up in that. But at the end of the day, we're giving people a place to sleep and trying to feed them in the hospitality world.
Right.
And guess what Bracken's Kitchen does all day? They work with people that are giving the less fortunate place to sleep, and we're feeding them, coming alongside them. So it is no different at all.
Yeah.
But it's very, very different, obviously. But that is hospitality and just trying to do good and help people out. So there's always.
I was just teasing you. You're not out of hospitality.
Well, I'm in a different form of hospitality, but we remind ourselves of that all the time because even in our little kitchen, it's too busy, it's too easy to get caught up in getting the meals produced and get them out and everything. And you're in the kitchen, and Jerry and I, and Jerry's our chef, and some of our employees, and it's like you got a dozen volunteers there, and if we get so focused on getting, yesterday we work with recovered food, so sometimes good stuff comes in and sometimes bad comes in. And yesterday we had a whole bunch of chicken thighs came in, and we gave them to the volunteer, and he started cooking them off, and that doesn't look right, doesn't smell right. So you get so wrapped up in what's going on, sometimes you can lose sight of everything in hospitality or in our side, whether it's the quality of the product or just how we're treating our volunteers.
Cheers,
we do a lineup every morning at 9 o'clock and talk to all of our volunteers and welcome them and thank them for coming in because it's important. And it's time that this morning I had to stress
you have
it's
a team.
9:30. It's 9:30 and we haven't started cooking yet. We got work to do.
Right.
And, but yet that 30 minutes to do a lineup and talk to them is important because hospitality comes first. So.
Well, and you're being welcoming to them as your volunteers. Bill, let's go ahead and give the website. We mentioned it a number of times, but I don't think we mentioned the website. What's the website?
I heard this saying a while back, dub, stands for www.brackenskitchen.com or org, BRACKENS, kitchen.org or com. We'll get you there.
Very good.
Perfect. And there's a lot of information on that website. Go check it out. Definitely an organization that is very, very, the heart is definitely in the right place, and it continues to grow, which is really a joy to watch. So go get involved with Bracken's Kitchen. Find out more about their mission on their website. Bill is a great guy. You should definitely meet him. And
tour Bill's website.
No,
don't give that to him.
And just to throw it out there, even if you're not a Facebook person, you can still go facebook.com/Bracken's Kitchen, and it's open because that's where we put so much of our pictures of things going on. So people want to see really what goes on Bracken's Kitchen, whether it's out at the food truck or in the kitchen. That's an easy place to get information.
I got to tell you, I'm constantly amazed and pleasantly surprised as I see more and more of your postings because you really are touching so many different organizations that are out there that have been out there for a long time helping people.
Well, we live in what's going on in the world today. The challenges that we face in society, and politics.
There's a
and
lot of
government,
them.
And we just need to come together, and collaboration is so important to us. We talked about that today. When I started this, I never wanted to have to qualify a person's need.
Right.
I didn't want to have to look at a person and say, do you really deserve this meal? Do you really need it? Mm-hmm. And there's been occasions where people have come up to our truck when we park somewhere and get a meal, and then they walk out into the alley and get into an Escalade.
Later.
But I don't know whose Escalade it is. Who am I to judge? I don't know if a friend let them borrow it because they're so desperate they don't even have a car. We live in a society, as you know, that it's so easy to judge, and it
happens all the time. People judge very quickly.
Absolutely, and so we wanted to quickly just come alongside others and collaborate.
There we go. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and we've got Rod Apodaca from CBRE Hotels on the line, and he'll be joining us.
Thanks.
Hi, this is Ryan Huntsman with Chicago Title Company, located in beautiful Newport Beach, California. We're a national hub for our company, so we service the entire nation very efficiently with one of the largest national footprints in the industry. As part of the Fidelity family of companies, we get to enjoy and boast about being ranked number 302 on the Fortune 500 list. We're very proud of our tenured staff as they handle some of the most complex and high liability transactions across the country in a very professional and pragmatic fashion. Finally, many people are unaware of all the ancillary services that our Fidelity family of companies has to offer, including 1031 exchanges, UCC services, home warranty services, and much more. So if you haven't created a strategic partnership with a solid title company representative, I urge you to reach out to myself or someone else at Chicago Title to get the most of what we have to offer. Thank you.
And we're back. This is Check Out California. I'm Craig Sullivan.
And I'm Rod Gantus.
And we have Rod Apodaca, Senior Vice President of CBRE Hotels, on the line. Rod, how are you?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Rod.
Very good. What part of the world are you in today?
Actually returning back from North San Diego County.
Very good. So did you, was that a listing, a tour, or did you close a deal?
Buyer interviews is what it was. And,
Very good.
All went well. And all good. So how are you guys today?
We're doing great. Rad's back from Europe and the Middle East. I'm off of Balboa Island, so it's all good.
He had the longer commute today, I think. Is this the property in North County, Rod, that you're down there for?
No, this is another deal. The one in North County that I mentioned before is under contract.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, we recently opened escrow, and we hope to open escrow on 2 more properties, hopefully by early next week. So, moving things along as usual. But all good.
He makes it sound so easy, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, come
Always.
on.
Even his inflection is easy.
To quote Rod from a 3x10 interview, he's the total package. So,
and he told you that.
Yes, he did.
The humility level on this show just gets better by the minute.
Yeah. So, yeah, of course, Craig helped set me up for that.
Of course.
Of course he did, Rod.
Of course I did. So, Rod, why don't you tell us what you're seeing out there right now?
Well, a little bit of a broken record from the last few times I've been on. We are still seeing active buyers and active sellers. I think the number of buyers has diminished a bit, and the the concern about where the market's heading is still floating out there for a number of people. But I think we're looking at a good solid year and a half or so before we really have some concerns. We're still seeing rising RevPARs, and Southern California is that strong market, so it continues to have a lot of very active and interested players. So all still good, albeit with a bit of cautious optimism, but I think we still see a strong interest in the Southern California hotel market.
I think you're right. Are you seeing more out-of-state owners looking at Southern California again, or is it still more the local guys?
Well, I think you always see a lot of out-of-state buyers because they want to now and or have been trying to get in the market. But ultimately, it's the local players that seem to perform better.
Yeah.
You have groups, that might be used to cap rates or returns from the Midwest, and try and look at Southern California assets. It's just like, wow,
they don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, where the local guys are used to the economics and the dynamics and are more willing to play. And, to give a little plug, I guess, for Craig and Rad, yourself, for the Click conference you had a few weeks ago, had a lot of local players approach me looking for opportunity. And actually, Craig, you're probably going to want a referral fee out of this, but, probably picked up a number of opportunities from
I like that.
Your conference.
Well, good. And hopefully they actually result in listings and sales. So that's always a good thing. That's part of the thing that I want with the California Lodging Investment Conference. You can pick up that meeting there, and next thing you know, you're marching down the road doing a deal. So
all news is local news, right?
That is a good thing. Hey, we did an interview with Ron Kim, and Prospera, and I got to tell you, I really like their modeling. And they're in the process of building a 460 plus key JW Marriott on top of I think it's the parking structure over at the Garden Walk right now, and I think they've probably topped off on that building. And this is a company that dates back a number of years, but they've opened up a new hotel every year since for the past 5 to 6 years. And now they're going into the higher end luxury with JW. Then they've got another site down the street where they're going to be doing another hotel. I think they're going to break ground on that next year. But the thing that I like about their company is that they're vertically integrated. They are their own GC. They are their own management company. They are their own developer. And they don't farm any of that out, and it's all long-term holds and building generational wealth. So, I think, we get a few more players like that into the SoCal market. I think that's a good thing, and I'm not sure, but I think our friends at Tarsadia are back in the hotel market. I've seen a couple of them. One of them was at my conference, and saw a couple other guys at Alice this year. So there's a lead for you, my friend.
Well, Prospera is one of our favorite clients, along with T2, which is really the real estate now arm of Tarsadia. We're actually selling one of T2's assets right now, or I should say we're in escrow on that asset. I've looked at a number of deals with Prospera, and including Jesh's father, so our relationship goes back to the mid-'90s, which I always hate to admit and date myself, but have known Jesh since before he got into hotel business. So
yeah,
quite there are a handful of clients out there that you always feel so lucky that you have a good relationship with them, especially after. And this is unfortunately one of the issues with our business. You tend to find a lot of players that purport to be efficient, quality. We're on top of it, and then when you start working with them, they disappear on you. At critical junctures, and all of a sudden they're not returning phone calls. And that's part of obviously our challenge of being brokers. But every now and again, you have a seller that says, "Well, I really don't care about their background. They're the highest price, so let's go with them," and kind of warn them. Well,
it doesn't always work. And if you get the haircut and the retrade,
Yeah,
but
we're heading into a very challenging road, and as long as you're aware of that and are willing to put up with some of the brain damage, then so be it. But at least we're giving you a heads up. But Prospera and T2 and a handful of others, quite frankly, if they're coming after a deal and they're in a close strike price, we know that ultimately if the seller picks them, our job is so much easier because we know their ability to perform, and they're honest players.
Well, the people I was talking about, Rod, were not carrying a T2 card. They were carrying Tarsadia cards. So, and we'll get you those names off the air. So,
I know the Tarsadia and I know both sides of that table. So they're all good.
Yeah, they are. They're good. I still owe Tushar and Ed Koss, the vast majority of my career. So, it's a good group, and it's good to see them back. So, anything on the debt and equity side, my friend? Anything? Any news?
No. There's still plenty of capital out there.
Good.
Karen Leonard out of our Century City office handles all of our hotel debt and equity. And she's been quite active working on a number of different deals, but there definitely are funds available. Everything from conventional to CMBS to mezz pieces. It's all still there. Obviously, at the end of the day, it boils back to who's the sponsor, the borrower.
There you go.
We'll decide whether or not someone's willing to lend, but the money's still out there. So from an investment standpoint, you still can get attractive deals put together. I'm actually having a couple different groups that are venturing into the PACE financing world.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with PACE or not.
I am.
For your listeners' benefit, quite frankly, it's a federal program that allows you to borrow at attractive rates, roughly right around 5%, as long as the money is used towards energy efficiency on your asset. So for older properties or properties that are going through a PIP, it's very attractive, 30-year AM. The interesting twist on it, though, it operates like property taxes, where it runs with the property.
No mortgage. Yeah.
Right. No mortgage, but you make 2 payments a year.
Right.
The positive is that if you default, it's not accelerated. It's just like property taxes, where you've got late payments and penalties on
exactly
period of installments. However, if you're a landlord, as if you have someone leasing your property, not quite certain if you want your tenant using PACE financing unless they have the financial capacity to protect you as a landlord, again, because the PACE runs with the real estate.
Well, that and your first trust deed lender has to approve it as well.
Right, and with good quality developers that have construction guarantees in place, obviously that removes a ton of risk
there you go.
For your landlord. So there's ways to mitigate it, but it is an attractive piece of financing that's out there for those looking to help finance some of their capital improvements, especially when it comes to energy efficiencies.
There you go. Well, Rod, if you have a chance, why don't you get Tara and I together? I'd love to talk to her about possibly becoming a sponsor and being on our lending panel at Click next year.
Sounds good. We'd love to get her involved. She was at Click and spoke very highly of the event, so we'll definitely put you guys together. Good.
Very good. I think everything else is good right now. So
yeah, I have it's not a question, Rod. It's something more like just kind of a putting it out there to maybe keep an eye out for it. I'm just curious. I heard something a couple of days ago about just there's this discussion about the nature of properties that's coming, like future developments and things of that nature, that there's an interest in the market for really, really over-the-top properties that are smaller in size, smaller keys, and ones that are maybe more price sensitive, but that have that basically they were saying that there's this sort of like the 1%er property attraction, and then the majority of people, that this mid-range client is not something that the future developments are looking at. They're looking at really over-the-top, smaller, almost boutique scale. And I'm just curious if you've seen anything like that out there, or this is just something very new. I thought it was a very interesting take on sort of future projections for the hotel business.
Yeah, that is an interesting comment. What we are seeing is not necessarily the over-the-top, super high-end asking ADR rates, room rates.
Yeah.
We are seeing a proliferation of guys that are saying, I want a 4-hotel brand. And they're all going to be boutique-y, hip, cool.
Chic.
Yes, we've looked at and met with quite a few of these gentlemen, owners, and their product types, and the finishes are pretty phenomenal. But they're looking at 30-room, maybe 50-room max, but definitely smaller room count. And what they're doing is they're taking the smaller motels, exterior corridors of the world, and because of areas like Playa Vista, certain areas of Venice, Manhattan Beach, they can make them more trendy, more whatever you want to call it. Where
that's the motique, my friend.
That's a good word. I've not heard that. You may have just coined it, but
been using it for a while.
He's been using it for a bit.
Yeah, I can't take all the credit on that, but I have spread it. There is the Rambler down in San Diego, Chula Vista. It was an old roadway built in the 60s, and they came in and turned it into a motique. And I was down there filming the other show. And, I love the idea of the motique, especially, you've got something that's an exterior corridor in a beach community, whether it be Laguna or, Santa Monica or Oxnard. I think you can celebrate that community and really put in this 1960s Route 66, Americana vibe and have some fun with it.
Or a desirable location, hard to basically get something new entitled that's larger, possibly combining a couple of properties that are adjacent to one another into a bigger offering. Yeah, no, I was just curious if you were coming across that, Rod. So thanks for the input on that one.
Sure. Well, guys, another. When is your Craig? When is your next big event? Is it just the 1 year click, or are you?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up. You know, we're going to have a case of Mohammed going to the mountain. My feeling is I've got my planning committee meeting next month, and I am already in the works for doing a midsummer summit in Oakland and targeting the top 100 hotel owners in Northern California for about a 3-hour mixer. So, breaking news. I wasn't prepared to let that out today, but you asked and I answered. So, I've talked to one of the ownership entities on a hotel over there that just renovated their 24th floor, and we're working on some pricing, and they've got some dates open for me. So we're going to do this on a Thursday in August, and we're going to have 100 people there. So again, I'm inviting the top 100 hotel owners, and then I'm bringing a limited amount of sponsors and myself. We will all put money into this to bring people to, we need Northern California. And some of the things that I was hearing was that, everything's done in Southern California, we're ignored. And I don't want them to feel that way, so I want to do a summit up there where we will go over trends and sales and have a keynote, one panel, and then 2 hours of networking. So, and hopefully they will feel the warmth and want to come down to Southern California for Click 4 next year.
Mm-hmm. Well, make sure you reach out with Julie Purnell with our CBRE Hotel Advisors, and also Mark McDermott and Henry Bowes that are on the transaction side out of the San Francisco office, and
absolutely
offer their support. So.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great.
I expect to see you there too, Rod.
More than happy to attend, and you know that.
Perfect. Thank you, my friend, and thank you for supporting the show. And this has been a lot of fun having you part of it. Hopefully, we can continue this. We'll have a conversation off air and see if hopefully we can keep you as a sponsor, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Continue with a great show. Look forward to chatting with you.
Take care. Thanks.
Great. Bye-bye.
And that was Rod Apodaca, the Senior Vice President of CBRE Hotels, and that was Rod checking in, or the checkout with Rod Apodaca. I don't know which we were calling it. The full package, total package.
I think that's what the segment should be called.
So, yeah.
The total package.
The total package with Rod Apodaca.
So, but it's this has been a great show. Bill, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's anything we can do to help you in Bracken's Kitchen.
Always, yeah.
We're there. We'll spread the word. We'll definitely be at your Hunger Games 2.0, and I'm really looking forward to that. And kind of go from there.
Just don't talk about Motique hotels next time I come down. Makes me miss that past life of mine. A 30, 40, 50 room hotel, high-end hotel with the kitchen that I'm running. Right. Kind of brings back some fond memories. But I'm happy where I'm at. I want to stay there.
Yeah. You are a critical part of the goodness of this county, and I thank you and your family and your team for everything you're able to do. I wish I could do more, but we had that conversation a while ago, and the only thing I can do is give you some money from time to time.
It's a critical part of it too. So, you guys play an important role, and you talk about important things, and it's too easy to set up here and ignore all the things that's going on down below. And literally, because we're up here with this beautiful view of Orange County. But there's a real life out there just down the road.
Absolutely.
And you guys don't ignore that. So God bless you for doing that. So.
Well, and like you said, roll up your sleeves and get involved.
Yeah.
There is no nothing more rewarding than volunteering for a good cause and seeing things left better than you found them. There really is not.
We've got to leave things better.
I want to throw a quick plug in, and
Sure.
I wasn't even going to do it, but it just popped in my head. I was going to tell you about it. But coming up in May, you can find some of the info out there. Roy Choi, very well-known chef in L.A., has got a series coming out, a 6-part series called Broken Bread. And Roy is just a unique human being, and we're one of the episodes on wasted food.
That's awesome.
Nice.
But he spent months filming all across LA and looking at the issues in Southern California, from poverty to drug issues to low income to homelessness to food insecurity, everything. So it should be a very exciting. Tastemates put it together. It's coming out on KCET, and
great!
It's just a great look at.
Definitely got to watch that.
Life on the other side, so to speak. So we're excited to see what the end product looks like, for sure.
I've got a lot of respect for him. I remember a couple of
important.
shows I've seen him on in the past, and so a lot of respect for him and his family. I mean, it's just incredible.
Well, he's been on the other side, so to speak.
Yeah.
He's been through some rough things, and I know him, but I don't know him well, and it was very enlightening to spend, a couple days with him filming, and he asked some tough questions, and he challenges some of the status quo, so to speak, and very, very intelligent man. So it was definitely fun.
In a society where we basically live in our cars, it's really easy to drive by stuff.
Yep.
We did that for a long time with the river bank, and it's very important to stop and look and get involved and get out of your car and roll up your sleeves and help.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So thank you for doing that, Bill.
Thank you, my friend.
Very inspirational.
Pleasure to be here always.
Hey, before we wrap this up, I want to thank Rod for 2 great years. This is second show of the 3rd season, so we're off and running. I think we need to do a labor show. I think we need to get in and we'll just put this out into the ethos. Get one of our unions in here. Get a management company in here. Get an ownership group in here, all at different times. I'm not putting you all in this little studio. Not going to happen. This is not WrestleMania.
Yeah, otherwise there'll be like metal detectors
but
at the front door.
5th floor window.
I really want to hear everybody's perspective. We keep hearing one side of it, and I really want to hear more of it. I'd also like to get one of our trade associations in here, whether it's CLIA or CHLA or AHOA, to come in as well. So I think we need to start working on that.
We've talked about this. I think it is that's another layer to the story. Sort of the back of house has multiple layers to it as well, and we tend to talk about the positive aspect and the sort of if you call it the more glossy aspect. Sometimes we talk about operations sometimes, but there are actual, to Bill's point, there's sort of another layer to this. Is the real rolled up sleeves, housekeeping side, the back of house side, the labor side of it, and especially with what's going on with discussions relevant to wage and unions versus ununioned properties. And I think it is important to take that mystery out of it and actually bring those voices in and add them to the conversation.
Well, I also want to bring the guy in. He's got a show on the station from Higher Power, and I want to talk to him to see if he's placing people in any of these jobs. What was it? A couple of years ago, we had 80,000 jobs that went unfilled in the hospitality sector, and it is like almost 500,000 jobs now nationally that have gone unfilled. So, I think there's got to be some ways of filling those gaps and getting everybody.
Which when you stop to for a minute and think about it, it's insane. I mean, that's just like phenomenal. Like, how is it that there's so many jobs that are empty in that kind of an industry?
And
it's all those lower wage jobs too.
It's all the lower wage jobs.
It is. Yeah. But this is still part of the magic for me with hospitality is you could be a doorman, and I've got a perfect example for you. You can start out as a doorman, and a buddy of mine by the name of Tom Gachet, he is now the president of Davidson Hotels. Okay, he started out as a doorman, okay, and worked his way through, got to the deal side, got to the development side. And Tom, congratulations to you and your family and all your hard work and being made president of Davidson Hotels. So, it's a career and it's a pathway that is still open to a lot of people. without having to be that number or a cog in a wheel somewhere that you're never recognized and you want to climb the corporate ladder and you're not allowed to in 20 years.
I think, Bill, you're right. You have a slightly advantageous point of different perspective, if you will, on this. You see that side. You see the people that are involved in the industry that are still struggling.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, I can't think of his name. The TV show Dirty Jobs. And talks about vocational training. I remember, and I'm guilty of that. I remember my 26-year-old son now finally graduated a year ago, San Diego State. He works for TD Ameriprise. He's got his life in order. Yeah. But there was a point in time where he didn't want to go to college, and I insisted. And he's like, Dad, look at you. You went to vocational school, and you did okay. And I bought into that dream that, no, you have to go to a 4-year university. Part of it was I wanted him to experience something I didn't. But that's just where we live. You got to go to university. You got to go to college. But, the world is full
marginalized vocational training.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a world of need out there, and those jobs that you're talking about are vocational jobs, hands-on jobs that can lead to something just like your friend. It doesn't mean because you start as a cook or a maid or a housekeeper that you have to be that for the next 40 years of your life. If you choose to, you can. Right. But, there's nothing wrong with that. My father, he was a union shop steward for years. He was an hourly employee his whole life. They tried to get him to move up in management, and he didn't want that. He wanted a simple life with happy with raising a family in a small Midwestern town. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Had he chosen to move up the ladder, he could have. So the opportunity is always there. And the need is greater than it ever has been. I mean, it's the single biggest struggle in hospitality is filling staffing positions. And then it puts so much pressure on everyone else across the board.
We not only have I think, marginalized vocational training, we've also sort of minimized people that are basically pursuing a path of that nature for some reason. And I think it's interesting because college is not for everybody. Yeah. College is also very financially draining if you go through that. I mean, you hear the story about all the time about people
pays for it.
$50,000 out of college, $50,000 in debt already, and how many years are you going to try to dig yourself out of that? Yeah. And so it really is interesting. We've been kind of very myopic in terms of answers. Yeah. And yet some of those answers have been around for a long time. We just stopped looking at them.
Showing off again. It's cacophony of noise and
cacophony of content. But
myopic. I'm feeling myopic right now.
Are you feeling myopic?
Hey, we got to wrap this up.
Marginalizing myopicness.
We need to wrap this up. But check out Rad's other show, The Rad Life. Okay, Aging Boomers, timely, great conversation. You will find it here on OC Talk Radio. Also, he has got a video streaming interview show, Selling the Lux Life. Please check that out. I'm on my way to AHOACon, so I will see everybody down in San Diego with the Checkout California 3x10 crew. We'll be down there filming for 3 or 4 days. So I'm looking forward to having 7,000 of my hotel brethren all in one location. So this is going to be good. And then check us out. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn and all the other social media platforms, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Let us know what you think about the shows. We really want to hear.
Let us know. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Aloha.
Thank you for being our guest today on Checkout California. We look forward to having you as a guest with us again in 2 weeks. Until then, you can always reach us through our Checkout California Facebook page or by emailing us at checkoutcalifornia@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. So do let us know what you think of the show and what areas of interest you'd like to see us cover in the future. Your feedback is very important to us as we continue to bring you the best hospitality our Golden State has to offer. Until next time, may all your days be filled with sunsets and palm trees. Now, go experience and check out California.